Hello and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Happy July 3rd. Happy Independence Day Eve. Thank you for bearing with me on what is an earlier time. I'm on the road right after this. So as soon as I click end stream, I'm in the car. I'm out of here, but I did not want to miss this. So moving it up, thank you for bearing with me just a little bit. The way that we do this is for the next hour or so, I answer or address as many questions, concerns, or comments that I can using data, information, logic, reason, a little bit of fun along the way. So go ahead and drop those right now. And we always start with a couple of items straight out of the gate. And boy, do we have a treat this week with the weather. This is the 10-day for Silvis. And you can see Thursday PM at around, right around noonish, the chance of precipitation rises from about 33%, and then you're going to get probably 50% the rest of the evening, and they're expecting a little bit less than a quarter inch of rain. That's notable, right? That's an amount of rain that is notable. Along with that is an increase in wind, but an increase only from about 4 miles an hour to 7 or 8 miles an hour. The real trouble looks to be Friday, which will be dry, according to this forecast, but much windier as the day goes on, peaking with those 17 or 18 mile an hour winds in the afternoon. I will say a lot can change, okay? Whether the rain comes or doesn't come, whether it comes earlier, whether it causes a stoppage, whether there's, all of this stuff. But if everyone plays to their tee times, it looks like you want to be done before this wind comes in on Friday afternoon. So that means you being Thursday afternoon, Friday morning is probably going to be the better wave. Again, there's no ideal side of it. You're either going to play in the rain or you're going to play in the wind. I think playing in the rain with no wind is better than playing in the wind with no rain. So I believe Thursday PM, Friday morning is probably the better side to be on. If you want to create lineups with just those, or with at least 4 guys from the PM wave, or at least 5 guys or something like that, I've all of the tee times and waves are loaded into the custom model on rickrungood.com. So you can do that. But I believe this is probably one of the more interesting weather reports that we've had this summer, maybe this year, because it does look like there's going to be something pretty fun. And then we're going to go to Scotland next week and the week after that. And who knows, there's probably going to be a ton of waves. Okay. The second thing we like to do before we kick off the questions is look at what the updated one and done ownership selection rates are. And we still have 2 big names at the top. Sungjae Im at about 20% selected industry-wide. Sepp Straka 17. A little bit of a gap to Denny McCarthy and Aaron Rye in the second tier, both about 12.5%. And then another gap to Davis Thompson, JT Poston. Another gap to Jordan Spieth. Another gap to Dunlap and Jason Day. So, 2 guys in the upper teens, 2 guys in the 12.5 range, 2 guys in the 7.5 range. Jordan Spieth by himself about 5.5, and the rest of those under 4%. So really interesting distribution of names, because you probably have almost all of these guys available to you. It is not a huge purse. I think it's actually smaller than it was last week as well. But if you could pick off the 1.5 million or whatever that first place is going to be and add that to your total, certainly going to go a long way to break some ties and to move you up and jockey for position. All right, let's get into this. Now, I believe StreamYard did a pretty good job of retaining the questions throughout the week. So we're going to start here with Robin. Robin says, thanks for last week and the first round leader. What is a good pick for this week? Okay, so again, now see, this is interesting, because if you're just playing first round leaders, you do probably want someone who's going out in the morning on Thursday, because they're not going to have to play in the wind or the rain. They're going to have to reap what they sow on Friday afternoon, but that's the second round. We don't have to worry about that. So first round leader, we probably do want somebody who is coming out of the early wave. I'm going to do this a couple different ways. Everything you see from this point on is probably from my website, rickrungood.com. Giant golf database for fantasy and betting. I love it, and I think you guys will love it too. Let's look at the last couple of years, everybody in this field, first round scoring, and see what we can find. And we'll see. First off, Neil Shipley's I only have 3 rounds on him in the database. He's getting 3 strokes per round. What time does he go out? He is the last of the morning wave, 6:57 a.m. That's probably my time. That's Pacific time, but he is the last of the morning wave. So he might have to deal with some of those wins at the end of his round, but that's not bad. Alejandro Tosti, Rio Hisatsune. This one's not bad either. Ben Silverman. Is he going out in the morning? He's not. We're going to cross him off the list. What about Mark Hubbard? He does go out in the morning. Okay. So through the first run here, kind of narrowing it down to Shipley, Hubbard. Hubbard's been really good. And this is a very good golf course for him. The thing that we need from Hubbard is we need the ability for him to gain a lot of strokes in a single round. We don't want just +3 every single round. We want some +6s in there, which I did see. I did see he went PGA Championship. He gained 6 strokes to the field, more than 6 strokes to the field in the opening round. So if we sort this by last 100 rounds, strokes gained 5 or more, when are we going to run into Mark Hubbard? And I worry that it's not very early. It's not. He does fall off a little bit after gaining a stroke or a round or more. Okay, so who was our other option? Shipley was up there. How about Denny? What time does Denny go out? No, he's in the afternoon because he can get really hot. Justin Suh, he's a morning guy, gaining a stroke per round over 77 opening rounds. Trying to see where he shows up. See, maybe it's, did I look up Toasty's tee time? He's like the last tee time of the day. Wow, there's not a ton of great options here. Where was Joe? Sorry, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but I want to get it right. Grazerman? Didn't I see his name in a couple places? Maybe it's Rio Hisatsune. So let's see. No, he's a late tee time too. Boy, we don't have a lot of good options here. Jason Day? Sorry, this is the longest I've ever spent on this. He's an afternoon tee time. Let's go with Shipley. I think Shipley might be okay. Jake Knapp? Jake Knapp wouldn't be bad. So Jake Knapp gains 5 or more strokes to the field 9% of the times, the second highest rate. He's got a 5:18 tee time. I'll move on. I won't bother you guys with any more of that. Can you do a deep dive on Patton Kizzire? 4 top 25s recently, has good course history too. Yeah, I think you probably nailed it here. If you look at his profile, it's probably a lot better than you would have thought it was. Starting to round into form. I think he's healthy for the first time. Games coming back. Got a spark at the Punta Cana where he finished T23, and he has barely finished outside the top 25 since then. The ball striking metrics are back. The putter is a little bit of a concern, but it's not horrible because he showed us that he can putt a little bit here as of late. And then you mentioned it, the history around this place outside of last year is T16, T11, T30, T25. I think it's good, not great. We'll see. I think there's just better guys in the field, but he is playing better than he has recently. Sung Jae and Ben Griffin, or Sepp Straka and Mark Hubbard. That's very close because I probably like Sung Jae more than I like Straka, but I like Hubbard more than I like Griffin. So I'm going to go Straka and Hubbard here. I already talked about Hubbard a little bit. I've been impressed. I've laid eyes on him a couple of tournaments this summer. He's just been in some big partnerships, big pairings. So I've seen him play a lot in person. But Sepp Straka, since his win last year, so let's just do this. Since, let's call it July 10th. So this will not even give him credit for that win. So since July 10th, the day after his victory of 2023, where is he? I don't want round 1 anymore. I want all rounds. Sepp Straka is here. He's gaining a little bit more than a half a stroke per round in 85 rounds. So he, just by that metric, he's probably like the 18th best player in this field, and that does not even count his victory. And if you look at his results, he's got a lot of recent top fives, top tens, ball striking very good, putting very good. So I'm going to go with that team. Thoughts on Rio and Daniel Berger, not just for this week, but the future too. Rio's kind of interesting, right? He is someone that pops up a lot, but it's difficult for him to put 4 rounds together. So you see a lot of these like, oh, he's off to a good start. He's a great showdown play. He's in second and then he fades to 13th, or he's in 30th and then he backdoors his way up to 18th, things of that nature. I like the way he strikes the ball. He's a little bit inconsistent throughout the bag. He does not have one skill set that I'd be like, yeah, that's what he's really good at, or that's what he's really bad at, but he gets the job done. Daniel Berger, we're just keeping a close eye on, right? At one point, Daniel Berger was a legitimate top 10 player in the world. Just absolutely true. You should not be doubting that whatsoever. What we've seen since his return is a lot of really good in the ball striking categories. He gained 6 strokes on approach at the US Open. He gained 5.3 at Myrtle Beach. For whatever reason, he has been unable to find the magic with the putter. And I think he has actually tinkered a little bit with the putter that he's been using. I don't quote me on that, but I believe he's been trying out different flat sticks. But go back to when he was one of the best players in the world, and he was a very solid all-around player. He was able to convert on a lot of these opportunities. He was gaining 3, 4, 5, 6 strokes putting in given weeks, and now you're just seeing that fall off a cliff. I'm optimistic that he will get this back. Maybe it is just because, when you have injuries, especially standing over putts a lot, it's difficult to do. You spend a lot of time doing it. I think he's going to figure this out. And the fact that he's still a very good ball striker is a really good sign. So I'm buying stock in Daniel Berger moving forward. Favorite play between Poston, McNeely, and Dunlap, and why? I think Matt McNeely is still just the best out of those 3. I think Maverick McNeely is arguably one of the best players in this field since getting healthy this year. And really, so if you model, he was not healthy last year, and he played injured a lot. I've told you this story a lot. I talked to him in Vegas probably January-ish, and he was just very excited about being able to be 100% again. And you can see he basically wasted an entire year because he was hurt. Now that he's back, you're seeing a lot of very good long game numbers, and he's always been a very stout putter. So if we look at this again, I don't know where he's going to pop up here, but January 1st of this year to current, Mav McNeely is, him and Davis Thompson are the 2 best players in this field. They're both right at the same strokes gain number. They've both played within 4 rounds of each other. They've both played entirely on the PGA Tour. Kyle Westmoreland's on here, but he has a lot of Korn Ferry Tour rounds. So McNeely, I believe, is just the best player in this field. Dunlap is trending in the right direction, is incredibly talented, and I think is starting to figure things out. And then Poston, I just wonder where he's been, right? We have not seen the approach plus putting stuff that we normally see from JT Poston. And if he doesn't have that in his DNA, then we're in big trouble. Hey, Rick, can we take a look at Wesley Bryan and Mac Meisner? Yes. So we'll start with Wes here. He played recently, right? He got himself into Rocket Mortgage. He gained 3 strokes off the tee. He's really struggling with the putter. Lost 10 strokes putting in his last 8 measured rounds. Hasn't gained putting since Bermuda, where he gained all of them. Basically a season's worth of putting in 1 week, and he loses a lot besides that. Now, does he make up for that anywhere else? Not really. He is an above average player throughout the rest of his bag from tee to green, but it's not enough to offset this really bad putter. Has he putted well here in the past? If he has, we might be able to have an argument about that. He has not. So tough to be excited about Wesley long-term, or at least at this event, until we start seeing some changes in that game. And then Mac is a little bit better. He's also struggling with the putter, not as bad as Wesley Bryan, and he's shown that in the past he's been a very good putter. In fact, his last 3 measured events are basically his worst 3 putting events that we have. I'm not going to beat him up for the US Open. I will beat him up a little bit for losing a half a stroke putting at the Rocket Mortgage and missing the cut there. It was not a bad missed cut, and he played better on Friday than he did on Thursday. Has he played here before? Probably not, right? Yeah, he has not. So I would prefer Mac in this situation. I think there are enough breadcrumbs to show us that he's playing a little bit better. First and one and done, got to go Sung Jae, right? between him, Davis, Thompson, and Aaron Rye, don't see a reason to use any of them else the rest of the season. Very good analysis there from Philip. I think you're right. If you are leading, you've got to just run out either Sung Jae or Sepp Straka. If you look at the Pool Genius tool, so this is the tool that I consulted on. This is the tool I show every single week. It takes into account future value, current odds, pick popularity, all that stuff. And then you put in your picks so it knows who you've used and who you have left. I get a rank. I get them 1-2, Sung Jae Im and Sepp Straka, but Im is a 95 out of 100 in terms of the score. Both are going to be popular. Yeah, you just run out. You just run out Sung Jae here. Rich is third in his one and done. He has Im, Spieth, Rye, and McNeely. Third out of, as long as it's more than like 8 people, Rich, you should just be rolling out Sung Jae. If it's like 6 people, maybe you play McNeely. I'm actually stuck. We legit might get a situation in which we, or myself, like, do not use Jordan Spieth in one and done this year, which is nuts. But he's one of the favorites here. However, you probably still have either Sung Jae or Sepp Straka left. You probably have Aaron Rye left. And if he doesn't play any better, you're not going to use him at a bigger event. So we might go the whole year without using Jordan Spieth, which was certainly not on my bingo card. Thoughts on make to miss the cut bets? Fun is what my thoughts are. Sepp, Rye. Okay, he lists off. Oh boy. Okay. So he lists off a handful of players and says, if you were to cut 4, who would they be? Gim is the first one to mind. So Gim models well, and Gim modeled well for me. But if you look deeper at his profile, something's happening that concerns me. He models really well because he was putting unbelievably early in the year, and he's already a great tee to green player. He's lost those putting gains in a big way. So that worries me. So he's one guy that I'd be concerned about. The rest of those guys I think are okay. I mean, Ben Griffin, I like Ben Griffin, but I guess by nature, he is a little boom or bust. He's either T16 miscut, T16 miscut. So it's not rare for him to miss the cut. So I guess that would be another one. The rest of those guys are all pretty darn good options. Second place in one and done, Sung Jae or Sepp. Andrew, you could look up and see if you're the guy ahead of you has used either one of them and play the other. But if not, it's probably just Sung Jae. Hey, Rick, who's your favorite play between 8,500 and 9,000, as well as 7,500 and 7,900? Okay, let's take a look. So 9,000 down to 8,500 is Stevens, Dunlap, you, Lucas Glover, Luke Clanton, and Eric Cole. It's probably Sam Stevens for me. If you tuned in on the Monday show, I was actually a little upset. I thought Sam Stevens was going to be pretty cheap this week. I was expecting him to be pretty cheap this week. He's not. I thought we were going to get a deal on him, but he's got 4 top 15 finishes in his last 5 starts. One of them was on the Korn Ferry Tour. The ball striking metrics are there. Also, if you want to go deep down the rabbit hole, he's working with Joe Mayo. And if Joe Mayo's got the magic touch and the confidence and all that stuff, Sam Stevens is getting the gifts right now. And also he's just a gifted player in general. So I like him. And then 7,500 to 7,900. Novak, I believe, is probably my favorite. You know, you could certainly entice me on Michael Thorbjornsen. You could certainly entice me on Neil Shipley. But let's do the Neil Shipley and Andrew Novak conversation. I saw there were a lot of questions about Neil Shipley, so I'll cover a lot of those right now. I don't have a lot of data on him, right? He's now just a freshly minted professional. He was an amateur at the Masters. He was an amateur at the U.S. Open. He turned pro for the Rocket Mortgage. He might be really, really good. Yeah, I mean, low am at the Masters, low am at the U.S. Open, and then he was T20 at the Rocket Mortgage where he gained 6 strokes ball striking. So really talented player here. I don't think the gap between him and Luke Clanton should be this big. So I think you get a little bit of a discount there. I think he's a little bit underpriced. And then Andrew Novak, overall, I think he's a very talented player, but I'm looking at his last 2 starts specifically. One in which he gained 7 strokes ball striking and another in which he gained 7 with the putter. Both of them were top 20s. I like the path, 2 different paths to the top of the board, but I also like the idea of let's marry those together, right? Let's have a week where you pick up 5 ball striking, you pick up another 5 with the putter, or 6 and 4 or something like that, and we have ourselves a really good week. So those are the 2 that I would probably take from there, and I'll probably skip all the Neil Shipley questions from here on out. Hey, Rick, one and done, sitting in 5th, most likely between Sepp, Denny, and Davis Thompson. Not quite ready to trust Sung Jae. Okay, so if you're not quite ready to trust Sung Jae, it's probably Sepp. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It might be Davis Thompson, right? You know, we looked at since the start of the year, Davis Thompson's the best player in this field. I'm so blinded by how much I love him that I've wondered if I've overgraded him, but he has really lived up to it this year. He's the best player in this field since January 1st, which is a long period of time. He is the results are coming in a big way. You're not going to use him anywhere else. He's probably going to win either this or the 3M Open or the Barracuda or the whatever. Maybe go Davis Thompson. I don't mind that. Can you run a model on driving accuracy, approach, putting, and maybe around the green in the last 16 rounds? Sure. So custom model rickrungood.com allows you to do a lot of different things. So let's do last 16 rounds, driving accuracy. I'm just going to put 25 on each of these, if that's okay with you, Justin. 25 on accuracy. He says 25 on putting. So I'm assuming that's just going to be strokes gained putting. 25 on, what was the other one? Around the green. And 25 on approach. Okay. Justin's model is Aaron Rye, Mav McNeely, Nate Lashley, Austin Cook, Sepp Straka, Davis Thompson, Lee Hodges, Patton Kizzire, Zach Johnson, and Sung Jae Im. Can you run the same model from Monday, but use last 24 rounds while also including some implied odds? Yeah, so let me load Monday's model, which I saved somewhere. I should probably have a better naming structure for these. Here it is. John Deere Monday. So this is my model from Monday, last 24 rounds. Okay. And also, oh, actually, you know what? I did probably implied odds. So let's get rid of, I don't know what you want me to get rid of. We'll get rid of birdie or better and change it to implied odds. I did opportunities gained there. Okay, I'm just refreshing myself. Sung Jae Im, Sung Jae Im, Jordan Spieth, Sepp Straka, Davis Thompson, Zach Johnson is my top 5. Doug Gim, Seamus Power, Matt McNeely, Sam Stevens, Mark Hubbard. Can we get a deep dive on Killer Keith Mitchell? Burned me last week. I think one of the reasons I don't talk about Keith Mitchell a lot is because he is seriously one of the most on-brand golfers that we have on the PGA Tour. He is phenomenal driving the ball. He has not lost strokes off the tee since October. He's a great second shot player. He's a horrible putter. And he often cannot out-hit his bulky putter, even on weeks that he putts well. So he finally gained a stroke putting in Canada. He finished T10. Like, go win. I mean, I know that's a big ask, but I just worry about him gaining 11 strokes ball striking and losing 6 putting and finishing T17. I just think that is like the most likely scenario for Keith Mitchell. Got in a pick 3 for the first time, sitting 3 out of 10. Recently found your videos and they're helped tremendously. So thank you. Cool. Appreciate it, Joe. That said, who's your top 3 this week? And what about Armina? She's killing it. Yeah. So I don't have Mina here. She is also traveling right now. She told me to tell you guys her pick for this week is Jason Day. She then said, oh, is that a bad pick? Oh, I don't know. And then she said, no, I'm going to go with my gut. And she picked Jason Day. So that is her selection for the week. My top 3. This is tough, Joe, because that's a very wide open piece of criteria, right? Like, do I have any restrictions? Do I have any salaries? What am I trying to accomplish here? I think that in a vacuum, Davis Thompson, Sung Jae Im, Aaron Rye are probably the best 3. Good luck. A lot of people are high on Aaron Rye, and he does model well, but he's not very good on bent grass greens. How much do you factor that in, especially in a birdie fest? Asks John. This is a really good question. And I think for Aaron Rye in particular, you have to kind of throw out the history. He's not a good putter on any surface, John. Historically, he is not. However, he's had a moment. And the moment is he's working with John Graham now, who's a renowned putting coach. He's worked with a lot of guys on the PGA Tour. And since then, and working on the green reading and working on stuff like that, his last two have been awesome putting weeks. So should we be looking at things pre-JG, John Graham, or post-JG? If we look pre, it's not going to model well. If we look post, it's unbelievable. So you kind of have to decide for yourself whether you think that this is a little bit sustainable. I think it is more sustainable than not. I don't think he's going to gain 5 strokes putting every week. He'd be the best putter in the world. But if Aaron Rye gained 2 or 1 with the way he hits it, would be very, very good. Can we get a deep dive on Ben Silverman? I'd love to, because Ben Silverman, I believe, is one of the more undervalued or just overlooked golfers in this field. Not that I think he, has a career where he's earned it or anything like that, but he's got 4 straight top 35 finishes. His metrics are looking pretty good. He can roll the ball on the putting greens certainly well enough to compete at this event. And in 3 of his last 4, he's gained strokes off the tee. We got to keep it in play, or excuse me, he's gained strokes on approach. We've got to keep it in play off the tee. To lose 4.5 in Canada off the tee is horrible. To lose 1.2 off the tee in Detroit is horrible. As long as he can keep it in the fairway. These are wide fairways, but if you miss the fairway, you're in big trouble. That's going to be the question for Ben Silverman. He's going to be like, 3% owned at $7,100. He hasn't been more than 5% owned in probably his entire life. So yeah, Ben Silverman's pretty good. This says Clanton or Kizzire. Oh, probably Clanton, Luke Clanton. I think the good news for Luke Clanton is that he's an unknown entity. We know exactly what Patton Kizzire is. He's fine. Luke Clanton might be the real deal. He is unbelievable off the tee. He has great ball speed. He moves it. He can putt well. The only thing he can't do is chip, which I don't really care about. So I'll go Clanton there, and understanding it is a high risk, high reward thing. On the head-to-head tool, does it automatically know the course of the tournament? Also, what do the percentages mean? How can someone have a 305% chance of gaining 1 stroke? Let me see what you're looking at here, because that don't make no dang sense. All right, let's see. Head-to-head matchup tool. So the answer to your first question is yes. So it looks at course fit, and it also looks if the golfer has a big enough course history, it will incorporate that. So this is the head-to-head matchup tool. You can put any golfers in that you want. So the percentages are the win probabilities. So you can run this for any number of rounds. So, last 50 rounds, last 36 rounds. If you want to go short term, you can go short term, and then this will all update. So you'll see this gives Sungjae Im a 65% chance of beating Jordan Spieth in a 4-round matchup. That would mean that he should be about minus 187. So that means if you see this matchup somewhere, which I don't know if I'm sure it's probably available. If you can get Sungjae for minus 140, for example, or minus 120, that would be the side you'd want to be on, because his projected money line is shorter than that. Same thing goes for Jordan Spieth. If for whatever reason he was offered at plus 200, I think he should only be plus 187. You should take that. I don't know about your question about how can someone have a 305% chance of gaining 1 or more stroke. I don't see that. So this is how often they gain strokes. So they gain. Oh, maybe you're adding them up. So these are not, and that's probably pretty confusing. These are not. So the top portion is projected. The bottom portion is historic. So this reads that Sungjae Im has gained strokes to the field 66% of the time. He's gained 1 or more 55% of the time. He's gained 2 or more 27%. So those will go over 100, because obviously if you gain 2 or more strokes to the field, that counts as gaining 1 and gaining 2 I hope that helps. While I'm thinking about this, and while we've got a lot of people here, there's been references to my newsletter, which is 100% free. And as far as I'm concerned, will always stay that way. There's been a couple of, or actually free and ad free, really. I guess there's been a lot of people trying to sponsor it in a more official way. I don't love doing that. So that's available to you, rickrungood.com/newsletter, links in the description. The other thing to consider is this splash contest, our listener league this week. I think it's going to have an overlay. We've been filling it every week, so they've been making it bigger. I told them this week, like, hey, it's a holiday. I don't know if people are going to be around, and it's the John Deere. Maybe hold off until making it bigger for next week. They didn't listen, but that's okay because it's all guaranteed money. So we might get an overlay here. Links in the descriptions. It's $20 an entry. You just make a team of 6 players using the tiers. It's 100% guaranteed. So no matter how many people get in, these are the payouts. So I think there's probably going to be a decent overlay there. Let's get in there and get that ready to rock and roll. And then quickly, I don't have Mina here to do her patented woofing, but let's go to Underdog here real quick. So it's a pretty good time to be on Underdog. Not only are they doing the up to $250 match, but they've got a ton of golf props. They've got a ton of head-to-heads, but I want to have a little fun this week because it is 4th of July. They've got the hot dog eating contest ones in here. And I went down a rabbit hole of hot dog eating stuff in my newsletter. But just to recap here, I'm on lower than 39.5 hot dogs for Miki Sudo. Might be Mickey. She's unreal. She's a huge favorite. She's probably going to win this thing on the women's side, but she does not need to be pushed. No one's going to be pushing her. There's no need for her to get and break a world record or a personal best. On the opposite side of things, Michelle Lesko is probably the only eater on the women's side that could push Sudo. Her line is at 25.5. She's eaten that basically every single time she's been in the hot dog eating contest. Very, very good, very talented. She's been on a good run. The other ones, and we're seeing a little bit of drift on some of these numbers, but I'm quite in on James Webb winning this hot dog eating contest on the men's side and going higher than 47.5 dogs. And I'm pretty in on lower than Jeff Esper's 49.5 hot dogs. So that right there is 10x. I thought I also had a different entry. Did I have a different entry somewhere? Where's my live ones? Pick them. Oh, okay. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So, okay, these lines are still good. So Webb over 47.5. Let's go higher than 25.5. Sudo lower than 39.5. Esper lower than 49.5. And then Nick Weary, I believe is how he pronounces it, over 44.5 dogs. He's married to Miki Sudo. And I think they're going to push each other. I think they've trained together. I think there is a resounding sense that the men's hot dog eating contest is wide open without Joey Chestnut being involved, and it is wide open. So listen, that's fun. That one right there, that is a 20xer. There's a link in the description. I'll tweet this out before I get on the road as well. But that's where I'm going. If you do want to actually weave in some golf wagers, I did like a little bit of the props for this week. So, okay, here's another thing to consider. Remember when we were looking at Sung J M versus Jordan Spieth? Yeah, well, we can get that for round 1 in Underdog with no, juice anywhere, with no whatever. It's one round, but Sung Jae over Jordan Spieth jumps out. There was another one down here as well. Hubbard over Keith Mitchell. Okay. Sam Stevens over Doug Gim, and Davis Thompson over Eric Cole. Those are, in my opinion, my favorites. They're just round 1s. So if you did those 4 PGA matchups with the four of the hot dog eating contest matchups, that would return 80 to 1 if you get them all right. 3 to 1 if you get 7 right and you get your money back if you do 1. Or if you get 6 right. Let's put, I don't know, $10, right? And just like see what happens. $15 to win 1,200 if we can snap off all of those. Okay. Go get involved. Underdog's a lot of fun. They're always doing a lot of cool stuff. Links in the description. You can get your deposit match. We can rock and roll. All right. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. I just have to find my spot in the questions now. Okay, let's go here. Way out of my one and done, but our league pays out for skins the only person who selects a player who wins. Okay, I like that. Not necessarily that specific model, but there should be other things in one and dones that keep people playing all year round. Okay. I like where your head's at here. So you want to be the only person on this golfer who wins. I do like Harry Higgs. I spent a lot of time on Monday, I believe, talking about the big rig. He's won twice on the Korn Ferry Tour in his last 6 starts. He missed 2 cuts, but now he's right back at it again. Yeah, he's got to be all-time confident, and I believe he is. I think he's back on the PGA Tour next year, right? He's already earned his card. Rick, appreciate you. Who is someone that isn't being talked about that can go out and win this golf tournament? Harry Higgs. Also, if no one had asked, who's the producer's pick? Yeah, so she's on Jason Day. I think Joel Damon. I don't know if people are talking about him. I don't really consume a lot of or any other content. But Joel Damon is back to being Joel Damon, which is accurate off the tee, great second shots, and then some type of putter, either a -5 or a +5. And that's okay. Give us the +5 week. If he was +5 every week or +2 every week, he'd be a lot more expensive. I got him at 75 to 1. Really stuck on picking 2 guys for a single entry. Ooh. Seamus Power, Eric Cole, Bo Hostler, probably Power and Hostler. I know that you're not a yards buckets guy, but with big greens and higher greens regulation for the field, can we look at 75 to 150 and then add in some scoring parameters of your choice? Okay, so let's go to the custom model. Let's clear these weights out of here. Let's do. All right. Let's do your buckets first. So we want 75 to 150. So we'll do 25, 25, 25 on those 3. And I've got 25 left to play with in my scoring parameters. So let's just do birdies or better gained. Number 1 player in the field, Chandler Phillips, Trace Crow, Wesley Bryan, Lucas Glover, Grayson Sigg, Davis Riley, Sam Ryder, Chan Kim, Justin Lauer, Patton Kizzire. Good luck. Is there any statistical reason Jimmy Stanger couldn't pop here? No. Just know he's been dealing with an injury. So he has not played. I think he's missed a month or so. We're going to see here in a second. Yeah, just about a month, maybe 5 weeks. So he was kind of playing through a little bit of an injury here. He missed 4 cuts in a row. Then he took some time off. Seems healthy again. I would like to see probably 1 start. You know, that first start back, that competitive juices have to start flowing again. I would probably like to see 1 start before I got super excited about this, but the price is super cheap. You're not going to, if you bet him, for example, or bet him to finish inside the top 20, you're not making a huge investment. So if you're okay with being early, that's fine. Just know that he's been dealing with I want to say it's an elbow, but don't quote me on that. It is a, elbow, golfer's elbow. He got proper PT, proper rest. He's playing well again with no pain. And now it looks like he is going to play 4 weeks in a row. So Joseph, you could conceivably see what he does this week and then look at next week. So I think starting next week, there's back-to-back alternate fields, right? So you've got that event in Kentucky, which now has a new name. I think it's called the ISCO Championship. Used to be the Barbasol, I believe. And then you're going to have the opposite field event for the Open Championship, which would be, I guess, Barracuda. I always confuse those two. And then whatever's after that, probably 3M. So you're going to get a lot of Jimmy Stanger moving forward. One and done top 3. Yeah, I would probably swap Straka and Spieth. So it'd be Straka, Rye, Spieth. Is there any way you could add the most valuable golfers chart from the newsletter to the site and update it weekly? Probably. So here it is. This is just a chart that I threw together, looking at average salary, looking at DraftKings points gained, all that stuff to kind of find some value. What I could conceivably do is on the fantasy tab of the Holy Grail. I've already got DK points gained here. I could just do average salary. I could probably do that. If you could email me, actually, see, I already packed all my stuff, like my notes and stuff. If you could email me and just remind me, I'll do that. I just don't want to forget. Can you look at Adam Schenk? Good history, but wondering how his form is lately. I think he's been crap, right? I think he's been hurt as well, though. Another guy. We're at the point of the season where everybody's kind of a little bit banged up. Yeah, this is not good. I think he's playing through something. Don't quote me on that, but I'm kind of sure. And it makes sense because he went from being just a phenomenal value play to pretty miserable. He's losing in every category everywhere. I already did the deep dive on Neil Shipley, Mike, but it does say, hope you and your family have a great 4th. You as well. Any plans to have live shot data feed into the tournament prediction model? So, yeah, I mean, listen, like, you can see that I'm kind of laying the blueprint for things on rickrungood.com, right? We've got the live leaderboard, which is the shot by shot tracker for both the PGA Tour and the European Tour. You're seeing the updates that are coming out. For me, everything comes out slow because I want to go a million miles an hour, but it's just me, right? So if I had if we were a startup, fully funded startup in Silicon Valley and had a team of developers, yeah, I mean, what you're describing, James, is probably a ways away. I will tell you that the next push that's coming, I think, is pretty important. So we are getting close to doing, basically everything's going to be a lot more responsive, right? You're going to be able to use it on your phone, on your tablet. There's going to be light mode, dark mode. There's going to just be a lot of better user experience stuff coming that I've been testing over the course of the past couple of weeks. And that'll be the next big thing. And then kind of go from there. Good times, birdies and bong rips from Garden City, Colorado. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. It's that time of the year. Should I be terrified that my models are spitting out Glover, Gim, and Damon? Yes. It spit out a lot of Doug Gim for me as well. So Glover, we've been out on him for 9 months and we haven't been burned by it yet. Gim, we already talked about, and Damon, we already talked about. Are we going to give Troy Merritt another run here? My instincts say no, but let's see what the numbers say. Actually, a lot better than I thought. Positive tee to green player in 5 out of 6. Positive putter in 3 out of 6, but 3 out of his last 5. What's he done here? T17, miscut, T43. He's played here a lot. Yeah. Okay. Sid talked me into it. How sticky is this course? Pretty sticky. Oh, Jay-Z's here. Slick Rick with the sick shtick. He helped you make your picks. Hit that like button real quick. Thank you, Hove. Hove remembers the summer of Hank Lebiota. Last week, he had his best pro finish since the 2021 John Deere. Wow. Good call there. Can we get a deep dive on Jake Knap? Surely. The man, the myth, the legend, Jake Knap. 6.5 strokes gained off the tee at the Rocket Mortgage. That's a great sign. He has not been a good putter. He has not been good around the greens. He's not been very good on approach. I don't know. Thank you for the great content. The newsletter is a must read. Thank you. Last week, I watched your video on the Cascade lineup building and 20 max entries. I think it's good. So good. Do you still like it? Yeah, I do. It's not for everybody. It's a high risk, high reward way to build lineups. If you don't know what we're talking about, just Google Rick Run Good Cascade lineups or something like that. It'll pop up. Yeah, I still like it. I still sometimes do it. I've actually kind of transitioned into, I'm like tinkering in the mini max with the 150 lineup strategy thing that I've been doing. So I've been a little bit more occupied with that. And then I kind of go on the opposite end of the spectrum, which is like the $100, $200 single entries. But if you want to play the 20 maxes and you're okay with having the swings up and down, yeah, I think it's cool. Okay, so can we do a deep dive on Eric Cole? Yes, because he popped up out of nowhere last week, back from the dead. T6. Now, wow. This is always like a problem. The guy plays poorly for 4 months and then he goes and gains across the board with really no rhyme or reason that we know of. Maybe he got a new coach. Maybe he got new equipment. Maybe who knows? So it's always very difficult to say, like, what is he going to do next? Because of the fact that this is a pretty sustainable stat profile and he did gain throughout the bag and he gained basically throughout the bag every single day, I would be pretty bullish on Eric Cole for this week in particular. And then we'll reassess next week. If this was a profile where he lost 2 strokes ball striking and gained 8 with the putter and finished T6, I'd be out. But this is unlikely to be a fluke. Vincent, we already talked about JT Poston, but I'm addressing your comment here. It says, love the morning chat. It's a great way to spend my walk to work. Walking to work, that's pretty cool. I walk to work too, I guess, but I just walk from the bedroom to this office. 4th in my 100-man one and done, but not in the cash. Top 3 is big money. Not sure if I should take chalk. Well, you should probably look at guys ahead. Like, has anybody ahead of you used Sung Jae? That would be reasonable that they have. And if they have, it's kind of, he's your guy. Even if they haven't, he might still be your guy. If you wanted to flip to Davis Thompson, I'd be fine. Here's a question from our YouTube member. Much appreciated. Always appreciate that. I try to prioritize these comments when I get there. Never going to skip them. Wondering about 2 groups. Up top, Kashmir Keith and Mick Putz. All right, we did the Kashmir Keith, and I'm not very bullish on that. How about Denny McCarthy? I like it. I mean, both guys are incredibly on brand, right? Both guys do exactly what you would expect them to do. Denny puts the lights out and kind of struggles everywhere else. If you could combine these two, it'd be one hell of a team. I guess I'm more interested in Denny. He's at least shown higher upside, right? The runner-up finish at the Texas Open, the T6 at the Wells Fargo, which was a signature event, the sustained finishes inside the top 30 or so. I'd go Denny over Keith Mitchell. I wish I could put them together, though. A long-time listener, first-time caller. Is there any way that Clanton doesn't top 10 here? Yeah, I mean, listen, he's like a child. He's an amateur child. Who knows what he's going to do, right? He's incredibly talented. I think he'll be. I mean, top 10's that's a big ask. He played nearly lights out at the Rocket Mortgage and finished T10. Right, he gained 7.5 strokes ball striking and 3.5 putting. It's a huge week. So yeah, there's definitely a way he doesn't top 10, but I think he's going to be just fine. Early birds get the worm. Let's get John Deere. And that's right. Farmers do not sleep in. Second group is modeling well. Lower end. Ashley. Who's Ashley? Oh, Lashley maybe. Lauer, Meisner, Merritt. Lauer models crazy well for me. I like Meisner. Probably then Merritt, then Lashley. Talked about first round leader. Talked about Aaron Rye. So I'm not skipping that. Dustin, also a member, says, love the content as always. I'm still first in one and done. Bang, bang, bang. So he just needs to defend. I have Rye, Straka, and maybe Davis Thompson as he's playing well. Okay, so you're actually in kind of a more interesting position. You don't have Sung Jae, presumably. So you could save Davis Thompson. There is an argument to be made that you play Straka in his title defense and Davis Thompson at 3M. Does your one and done include any of the alternate field events? You could save him for that. That would not be a bad strategy. I think just in a vacuum, if you only care about this week, Davis Thompson might be a little bit better. But if you care about using those guys moving forward, you could play Rye or Straka now and save David. You could even save Rye, I guess. Thanks for the years of content, Rick. Thanks for the years of support. Who do you like for top 10, including ties? Maybe give me one down the board. There was somebody pretty far down the board I thought I liked. Joel Damon. Joel Damon, top 20. Ben Silverman, top 20. They're both pretty far down the board. A little bit higher up the board. I don't know. Can you still get are we sleeping on Eric Cole? What's Eric Cole's number, right? Are we sleeping on him? Wouldn't mind that. And then Mark Hubbard, of course. One and done leading. Yep. Trying to decide Sung Jae or Straka or McCarthy. Yeah, yeah, this is tough. Sung Jae is a AM PM guy, which might stink. If you're not comfortable with Sung Jae, which I still probably am, I would take Straka. Good morning, Rick. Sick hat. Thank you, Josh. Also a member. This is one of the ones I got in Louisville. I'm a adopted Louisville Cardinal fan, and this is a very sick hat. I was actually thinking of making these where the instead of this logo, have it be that Rick Run Good, that circular logo that I've been rolling out recently. Have it say golf, but with that logo. But I got it. That's a dream of mine. Enjoy the 4th U as well. I listened to Greg talk. Greg's awesome. So Greg broke down Kyle's TrackMan numbers on the first cut. Greg is so sharp, and he's such a good instructor. And I've talked to Greg a lot about my swing, obviously. He's so sharp. Can we get the best bent grass putters? Sure. Go to the Holy Grail. Let's go to just strokes gained by tournament. How far back do you want to go since the start of 2021 so that we can get a big sample size here? We'll just do just pure bent grass, right? We don't want to do like any bent POA mixes or anything like that. Sort by strokes gained putting. Look for guys with a big sample size. Denny McCarthy, no surprise. Justin Suh, Harry Hall. Both those guys are Vegas guys, by the way. Bo Hostler, Austin Cook, Sung Yul No, Vegas guy. Whoa, these Vegas guys are crushing. Silverman, Lauer, Vince Whaley. Good luck. At what point is the purse too small to play a top guy like Im? Never. Im is not, I love him. He's not good enough to save because of the events that we have coming up and the names that are going to be injected into that. I'm right behind Mina in the one and done. She's going to kill me for giving you advice. She's in like, last time I checked, she was in 6th or 7th. I don't know what, she might've dropped a little bit farther than that. See if I can find her real quick. But I'm right behind me in the ones I have Im, Spieth, Sepp, and Denny. Listen, you guys are both in better position than I am. If I were you, I'd be playing Sung Jae. But that's why I'm not in the position that you guys are in. She's in 12th right now. She would win. Oh my God. If it ended right now, she'd win $1,600. I would never hear the end of it, which would be good. And she would want to spend that $1,600 on something stupid, which I would love. I'm okay with like spending let's just do something stupid for once. I see you there, Joe. Yeah. Oh my God. You're 60 grand behind her. She's going to be upset. She is, dude, you guys are only 1.2 million off the lead. Wow. Holy crap. If she wins that one and done, that's going to be unbelievable. I'm 10th in one out of 115. I'm 3 million out of first, but 2 million out of falling out of the money. I have most of the guys available. Sung Jae. I'm still probably playing Sung Jae. If you want to play Davis Thompson, fine. If you want to play Aaron Rye, fine. It's kind of a toss-up. All right. I've answered a lot of these. How do they determine who gets sponsors invites week to week? Well, the sponsor sits down, and I believe they're unrestricted sponsors invites, which means they don't have to have status anywhere. They could give me an invite, and they say, who do we want in? And a lot of times it's guys that are past champions. Maybe it is guys that have good relationships with the CEO. It's mostly BS, honestly. It's stupid. I hate it. They should at least be required to pick out of a pool of names that are provided for them. But when ad sales goes and pitches a multi-million-dollar package with all the signage and all the everything, they say, and you can pick 4 guys that are going to play in the field. Insaneness. Rick, love the show. Is it possible on Monday to do a review from the previous week? Go over good plays, great value, waste of money plays. Yeah, so I've done this in the past, and admittedly, nobody seems to care, which I actually think is a big miss. You know, I come from a little bit of a poker background, and that is all review. I try to do a little bit of that in my newsletter for that reason. You know, I look at last week's optimal lineup. I will include a couple of nuggets from the week prior. You know, this week was Cam and Akshay or whatever. So I try to do that in my newsletter because I've done it unsuccessfully in video form. What's for lunch or breakfast? I don't know. I'm going to hit the road and just kind of see what happens. I don't usually eat breakfast. I would take the over on Lucas Glover's 68.5 strokes. I think Alan is trying to bait me into showing this tool, which I will show him. Thoughts on who could be good bounce back candidates, which is exactly what I call this tool. So the way that this looks is guys that are hitting it well from tee to green, but are putting below their 100-round baseline. Like you can see where Daniel Berger is. And we already talked through Daniel Berger a lot. Great tee to green player and is putting significantly below his baseline. So the idea is that if he can get back to his baseline, he has a lot of juice to squeeze, and he is very far into the upper left-hand quadrant, which is where you want to be on the optimal side. Brendan Todd. I'm just picking out names here. Toasty, Ben Griffin, Keith Mitchell, Nick Dunlap, a couple smaller names with smaller sample sizes. If you're not in this upper left, you want to be in the upper right. McNeely, Aaron Rye, Mark Hubbard, Davis Riley, Davis Thompson. If you're not there, you want to be in the bottom left. This is not great. Jordan Spieth, Brandt Snedeker, Russell Knox, Eric Cole. And if you're in the bottom right, you're kind of in big trouble. Jason Day, Matt Kuchar, Martin Traynor, et cetera, et cetera. When a guy like Cam Davis snaps his driver and is forced to use his 3-wood, do those numbers go into his driving stats? Yes. Yeah. Any tee shot, whether if he hit pitching wedge off the tee, that would go into his driving stats. Strokes gained dogs. Oh, man. Is Davis Thompson chalk? Davis Thompson is going to, no. About 14% owned, which is less than Denny, Matt McNeely, Aaron Rye, and everybody else. So, no, I would say he's not. Quick look at Kelly Craft. I think I talked about him on Monday because he continued to model well. He has not played a lot, but when he plays well. I think this is probably the best course on the PGA Tour for him. You got to kind of just bite the bullet and either match the field or be like 10% on him. The thing is, here's the thing. Let me go back to the cheat sheet here. Kelly Craft is going to be, oh boy, less than 1% owned. So play 5% of Kelly Craft. Does the DP World Tour show anything interesting on Dylan Fratelli? Let's look. So rickrungood.com, obviously 6 tours. I guess I don't know if that's obvious. Strokes gained on all of them when available. So Dylan Fratelli's been playing on the DP World Tour. Good ball striking numbers, but yeah, this is similar to like his PGA. Actually, not true. The end of 2023, he was horrible from tee to green. He's fixed that, which is kind of interesting. This is not bad. 29th at the Scandinavian Mixed, 33rd at the Italian Open. Good metrics. He's gained at least 3.5 strokes tee to green in 4 straight starts. $6,200 is very, very cheap. He's won this event before, hasn't he? Yeah, he won it in 19. Hasn't done much here since. Yeah, let's do it. $6,200. I love it. Best current player to not have won yet. Cam Young. Oh, maybe Tommy. Davis Riley has technically won an event. Okay. I wish I could go longer, but I cannot. I have to hit the road. I have to drive for a while today. Go sign up for rickrungood.com. Go sign up for my newsletter. It's 100% free. Let's fill the splash contest. Get in on Underdog. All the links that you need are in the description. Here's what else I'm going to say. Happy 4th. Be safe, be smart. However many fingers that you have today, please come back with that many fingers next week. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Stoked for all you guys. Appreciate the support as always. Can't believe we're halfway through the calendar year and much more through the golfing calendar. We're going to flip this thing right around. It's sick. So appreciate you guys bearing with me on a week that is a little bit schedule-wise different. But yeah, thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon.